has gone one and done in the playoffs the most time.
Interesting names flying around. Somebody said Andy Reid, but those Eagles teams, they would get to the conference championship game, right, and lose. So Brandon just said Marvin Lewis, what got me thinking, right? But that was like 4 or 5 times with the Bengals. But I'm going to stick to my original guess, Greeny, which is Marty Schottenheimer.
That's right. Wow. Marty Schottenheimer is right. Marvin Lewis is so close.
9.
Marty Schottenheimer 9 times. Mike Tomlin, Marvin Lewis, and Don Shula 7 each. Oh. Tony Dungy, Jim Mora, playoffs 6 times.
Hembo, he owns you, dude. He owns you.
2-1.
Hey, who's got the Jets helmet on? Look at that.
Applejack.
I love that.
All right, let's roll forward here. More or less is our next game. It's brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Let's look ahead to some of this weekend's NFL action. Graziano, I'm starting with you. Josh Allen, passing touchdowns, 1.5 more or less against Denver.
I think I said less, but I'm not sure why I would have said that. I think Denver's defense is good. Maybe Josh runs 1 in, or maybe Josh runs 2 in. I like him to score here. I'll go with less just because Pat Surtain and how they limit the passing game.
All right, EJ, let's go to another great quarterback. Justin Herbert, passing yards. His number is 224.5. He going more or less?
I'll go less here, and the main reason is because Houston Texans already average about 201 on the season, and they're also number 1 in the league as far as pass rush. They have a great job of getting after the passer. That's going to be a tough part, and I think they'll try to get some 7, 8-man protections to allow Herbert to move up in the pocket like this, but ultimately he's under here.
Yeah, they may just run the ball the entire day. And then Lewis, let's go to Lamar. 271.5 against the Steelers of total offense. More or less?
I'm going to say less because of the fact that in the passing game, those Zay Flowers, that takes away a big part of their catch and run, although they still have some heavy hitters on the outside. Mark Andrews will still be there. The reason why I really say this, though, to kind of sum it all up, is the fact that this needs to be one of those games where immediately they come out and this becomes a King Henry type game. Mm-hmm. This becomes one where he takes control of it, and Mike Tomlin really doesn't have an answer for it. Or at least that's the way that I think they're going to try and play it. And Lamar doesn't have to carry the game on his own shoulders like he does so many times.
Well, let's stay in this game then and dive into this for a minute. These divisional games in the playoffs are always a different animal, right? Because these teams know each other so well. So if we're going to sit here and talk about which team is better, it's going to be a very short conversation. The Ravens are clearly the better team. But styles make fights, and the Steelers give the Ravens a hard time.
They do.
You did the Ravens last game. Yep. And what were the Browns people saying to you about how you beat the Ravens?
Yeah, well, we were talking to their defensive players and talking to Myles Garrett in particular, who, by the way, is just fantastic as far as how he thinks about the game. And he said himself, Baltimore's problem is Baltimore, not anyone else. He thinks that the team is stacked. He thinks they're ready to go on a run. Somehow, some way, though, every year when it's really all on the line, he feels as though they lose their character. They get outside of character. Things get tight. And people start doing things that they haven't done all season long. As long as he said, look, what makes Lamar so great from a defensive perspective is that when you watch him play, you literally are looking through his helmet and watching him. He's smiling and playing like he's playing on Thanksgiving Day in his backyard. He has that kind of mentality as the game is going on, and you're sitting there going, how are you so loose and making such critical decisions and making such big-time throws the way you are, but have that kind of mentality? He loses that, though, sometimes in the biggest of moments. You've seen it happen in the past. That's what you need to watch. How is he coming off the field? Does he look like he's getting – early on in that Cleveland game that we just did, he was frustrated because they were behind the sticks. They weren't able to convert. When you start getting him in that way, when he starts looking tense – that's when things are about to get off the rails.
And no Zay Flowers again for those just joining us. That's a factor.
Which is really important. That's his go-to guy in the quick game when he's trying to get the ball out of his hands fast. That's not having him is going to matter.
So maybe this becomes a Derrick Henry game. On the other side, EJ, the struggles of the Steelers offense, I mean, frankly, as one who kind of tends to root for them, it's painful to watch. Everything just looks so hard that they are trying to do. I've had it suggested here that maybe we need to see a little more of Justin Fields on Saturday night. Do you want to see it?
I would like to see Justin Fields, but I don't want to see him in packages because based off the conversation we had yesterday's show, and Dan was saying, well, maybe you put Justin Fields in on first down. I'm cool with that, but keep him in because then you kill the rhythm of either Justin Fields, if he's going to be your guy, and you certainly kill the rhythm of Russell Wilson. If I'm Russell Wilson, I hate that decision. So ultimately, you do need a spark on offense. They have to be better against this Raven offense because I agree with you. Like Lamar does have have some moments where he does falter. But I think now, this point in the season, as good of a year that he's had, he's going to ball out. So I would expect maybe you get a spark with Justin Fields, have some runs, but ultimately, if you do put him in the game, let him play. Let him figure it out.
Do you want to see Justin Fields in this game?
Look, I absolutely do, because I think Baltimore now, especially with the changes they made in their secondary, now with Kyle Hamilton playing free safety, they are going to keep a lid on the deep passing game. Okay, they're not going to let Russell Wilson run some standard play action on 1st and 10 and just bombs away with George Pickens. They're just not going to do it. Right. It's not going to be there. They're going to have some light boxes for a quarterback who is mobile to go ahead and exploit. That's where Justin would thrive.
Yep. Quick final word.
Yeah, talking to people there, the coaching staff's going to have Justin Fields ready to go. Like, for however much they decide to use him, however much they feel like they need to use him, he's going to be prepared to play a role in this game. Be interesting to see. They know their run game's better when he's on the field.
Yep. You see the clean sweep at the bottom, and as I've said a million times, whenever everyone thinks something is going to happen, it almost never does. Coming up, much more on the Thursday night thriller and the interception that changed everything for two programs. Can the Irish now win it all? Ryan Clark will join the conversation coming up. And a reminder to download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app to claim your new player bonus. And for a limited time, unlock access to 30 days of ESPN Plus to stream exclusive live sports. Sign up with the promo code GETUP to get started today. We'll be right back.
The bold Louisiana flavor and crispy crunch of Popeye's signature chicken is the meal you're craving.
From Union Transfer, a concert hall in Philadelphia, and includes celebrity guests. That's late night tonight. Meanwhile, best of the week. Boy, do we have a treat for you. D. Wood looks like he's going to Wall Street.
I go where I'm celebrated, not tolerated.
And Rex, for reasons known only to him, is wearing a green suit. Oh, look who's here.
Big man balling.
Boost it, baby. Can we wheel in J-Mac? A little Uber. Thank you very much.
I'm going to take this call, okay?
Leave the box up.
Leave the box up, but leave the sound off. There's a theory called Occam's razor.
I totally know what that is.
What is it?
You look kind of foolish.
Your Jerry Jones impression is very impressive.
It's really not. The Commanders, one and done or Super Bowl run?
My answer's somewhere in between, but I understand we have to rhyme it.
Why is it called a razor?
What?
It's a fairly well-known principle.
There was Mike Greenburg on the cover of Newsday, so we thought it would be great if we could get you even further involved. That's the difference between a UConn education and a Northwestern education. My freshman year GPA was a .67.
What?
FFFB.
And you were still eligible? We'd like to congratulate our friend Jeff Darlington, who won ESPN's prestigious War Room Fantasy League.
Screw Jeff Darlington.
Salty Shefty, we will leave for you there. Okay. I've said it before,
goodness.
I say it again. If we start your day with a smile, if we started your year with a smile, then we've done our job. Thank you for getting up with us every single day. We got Lewis, we got EJ Graziano is here. Ryan Clark's going to join us from down in Florida. We got so much to do today as we are live from the Seaport, brought to you by Grey Goose, and it begins as it must with a thriller on Thursday night. Game of the night with everything in the world at stake between the legendary programs. It's Notre Dame, it's Penn State, it's the big-time coaches of Freeman and Franklin. Penn State dominated so much of the first half. They're up 10-0, and then Lewis. Down goes Riley Leonard, and this looked bad.
Yeah, it did. And I'm sure the Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan base was sitting there going, have we lost our starting quarterback really before this game even begins?
He's in the blue tent, but he would return. So we go to the third quarter. It's a 10-3 game. They need a big play, and EJ, they get it in the passing game.
And they had to have it right here, Greeny. I mean, beyond this game, Riley Leonard's running ability really was shut down, but we knew he had to make some vertical passing plays. He made about 6 of them, and this was a big one.
That one's to Aeneas Williams, and that leads to this. Riley doing what he does best. We're tied up at 10. That was the first 3 quarters. And then the fourth quarter came, and it went nuts. Still tied at 10, first and goal Notre Dame. Look at the power, Lewis, from Jeremiah Love.
Yeah, this is just all grit, all heart, all want-to. Understanding what's on the line. Came into this game with a banged-up knee. You see the knee brace on the right knee. He's not even thinking about it. Driving off of that thing. One of the best competitive runs you'll see all year.
17-10 Notre Dame. Now we go back the other way. Penn State, and here comes Nicholas Singleton.
The run game from Penn State was great all single night. You talk about Singleton, but also Katron Allen had some big runs. Both guys around 85 yards each. Excellent job.
So we're tied at 17. Who would make the big mistake? It would be Riley.
Yeah, he's trying to get the ball over 6'5", deny Dennis Sutton. just a monstrous defensive end for Penn State. Big-time play.
And that leads to Singleton's third touchdown of the game. Penn State a 24-17 lead. So, do the Irish have an answer? That's a question. The answer was yes. Look how wide open Jaden Greathouse is, Lewis.
Yeah, you got to keep your feet as a defensive back when you're up on the line of scrimmage pressing. And then when you're entering into contact as a deep field safety, you can't overrun. Otherwise, you get burned.
Untouched. Notre Dame ties the game at 24. So here's the big decision. James Franklin and Penn State, 40 seconds left with 2 timeouts. Deep in their own territory, they decide to go for it. And Drew Aller makes the unbelievable mistake over the middle and intercepted by Christian Gray. We will break down this play all over the place. You will hear from everyone involved on the play that goes a long way towards deciding the outcome. After the interception, the Irish need 1 first down, and they get it to Greathouse. He had 7 catches, 105 yards, and that leads to this. Mitch Jeter from 41 yards away with a chance to be a forever hero.
The Orange Bowl is on Mitch Jeter's leg. Good snap, good hold, kick on its way, and the kick is good! Yes! Mitch Jeter, with 7 seconds left, gives the Irish a lead.
Say it with me, people. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish are going to play for the national championship in the first ever 12-team college football playoff off a thriller. Here's the coach.
These guys are a bunch of savages. They're built different. I told them they're built different, and I'm so proud of them. They're a special group.
Can you appreciate what a wild, awesome game that was?
Yeah, just if I was a spectator, holy sorry.
I think he speaks for us all when he says that. An unbelievable, and I put your feet up. We got a lot of time to dive into this, and I know that my colleagues here share my sentiment when I say congratulations to the Ryan Clark family, his son Jordan wearing number 1 on the defense last night for the Irish. And before we dive into the game, and RC, I'm going to ask you to be an analyst here because it was an unbelievable game. But I'll start by letting you be a dad. What was it like to see Jordan and his teammates win an unforgettable game in a national semifinal?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing is my stress level is extremely high. You know, I'm a dude that tries to stay like here during most games, but it was just so exciting. And I've just never been on that side of it. And we've had the regular play great and he'd be sad because he's lost games. The last 2 games, I've seen him more excited than I've seen him about football in my entire life. And the sort of feelings that overwhelm you, the tears that fall down your face, and to walk into the lobby last night, which I'm still outside in the hotel, to walk into the lobby last night and have him still be excited about that, to have him dang near in tears because of the ride that him and his teammates and his coaches have gone on. I mean, there's no better feeling for a father. This is better than winning a Super Bowl, better than winning an AFC championship, better than anything I've ever done in my career, because it's my actual heart living out there on the field, and it's been an amazing journey.
Wow, we are so happy for you, and obviously you got 1 more to go, and we'll see who it is. Ohio State and Texas will play tonight. Okay, so
I don't know if my heart can take that, Greeny.
We'll see. We'll get you there. So that was Ryan Clark, the dad. Now we're going to bring in Ryan Clark, the analyst. The conversation here has been about the decision by James Franklin at the end of that game to be aggressive. Again, we saw it in the highlight, tied at 24. They get the ball, 40 seconds and change left on their own 15-yard line and 2 timeouts. They run it on the first down. They get about 12 or 13 yards, and then they decide to get aggressive, and Drew Aller makes the enormous mistake. RC, what is your reaction to the decision by Penn State late there to be aggressive and go for the win at the end of regulation?
I think the first thing for Penn State is you want to see what that first play looks like. And when you gain that sort of yardage on the first play, your mind now goes, can we get into field goal range? And I believe that's exactly what James Franklin and the Penn State Nittany Lions were trying to do. The thing you do look at is anytime, and EJ knows this, Lewis knows this, anytime this team went 11 personnel with 3 wide receivers where they were in sub packages on the nickel defense for Notre Dame, they couldn't create separation with their wide receivers. And if you're a quarterback and you go back through your progressions, you never go late back to the middle to a backside dig. That gives Christian Gray, the defensive back, an opportunity to close on the backside dig. He makes a huge catch. I don't have a problem with James Franklin being aggressive there after the run, but if you're the quarterback, Aller there, you can't make that sort of throw against this type of talent on the back end for Notre Dame.
That has been the general consensus here. So let me bring it to the desk. Let's start by hearing from Aller himself, because he took the responsibility for it. Here's Drew Aller after what was a very tough night for him all the way around, and then the big mistake at the end of the game. Here was his explanation of that play.
I was going through my progression, got to the backside, and honestly, I was just trying to dirt it at his feet, but I should have just thrown it away when I felt the first two progressions not open just because of the situation we were in. But I was just trying to dirt it at Amari's feet, but just didn't execute what I was trying to do.
All right, we have the tape. E.J. Manuel, you're my quarterback. Take us through the play. Take us through what he's saying.
So this play call is a pure progression, and it's really one of the quarterback's favorite plays. You have the out that we're going to see first, and you want to look at Tyler Warren out in the flat. He's not there. All right, he's covered up. Then you go up to the second level. This is a deep out, but it's really like a corner out. This would be considered like a smash concept. Now, the third read is actually the basic right there. We don't have it highlighted, but there's a tight end or a slot receiver that's the third read, and then this is a fourth read. So I'm not mad at the decision to throw the football. I don't like the placement. That's the issue. And I do believe in what Drew Aller is saying. In that moment, he tried to probably throw the ball at in the dirt to throw it away to get it out of his hands. But the pressure, that's what caused this interception. As much as everybody's going to celebrate Christian Gray, he made the catch. Not taking nothing from the DBs. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no.
But it was the pressure in that moment of Drew Aller where he panicked. And he threw the ball in the spot where the DB was able to
be clear, are you talking about the pressure of the moment, the magnitude of the moment? You're talking about the defensive pressure in his face.
Both, really. Yep. So the pressure of the defense, which leads to the pressure of the moment for Drew Aller, right? You see this pressure right there, the three technique, he gets in. And a quarterback, you end up making a split-second decision to just throw it, and then you're inaccurate, and now it ends up being a pick.
Lewis, your big picture here, you're hearing the whole conversation. The decision by Franklin, the play itself, your thoughts?
So you could see what James Franklin was leading up to, right? He's thinking, look, we can go ahead and win this football game. They were going to have to throw the football at some point in time. It really wasn't being aggressive, so to speak. I mean, you saw what they were trying to philosophically get done. Right. Once Tyler Warren wasn't open, Drew Aller's mindset immediately switched to, I'm either running this ball out of bounds or I'm just chucking it out of bounds, and it's 2nd and 10 now. To come backside on a dig, the corner was, you saw when the ball was snapped, the corner basically what Nick Saban used to call half-turn the route, meaning he just cocked his body 45 degrees and goes, you're not coming in here. And as he tried to come in there on the dig, he almost converted it to what you would call like a comeback or a curl on the inside, and it still didn't work. He was sitting there perfectly. So for Drew to throw that football, EJ has been in these situations. He knows exactly what's going through the quarterback's mind. There's pressure coming in his face, and he's sitting there going, oh, no. Right. And it's happened. Now, actually, he said a couple other things, probably. Yeah. But he just figured, I'm just going to try to throw this thing, and next thing you know,
and I want to go back to the play call, too, because actually the play call is perfect. This is a sideline route. If you look at it, and like you said, Lewis, all right, if Warren's not open and then that corner's not open, throw the ball away. Yeah. Now, the read is different. If this is maybe 4 minutes left in the game, you could probably get to that fourth read. Yeah. You have time. This is inside 40 seconds. Right. This is to get us basically to the sideline. So if we catch the ball, we get out of bounds, or I'm throwing it into the second row, so then the clock stops and we can call another play.
And to be clear, they have 2 timeouts as well. Right. And the game is tied. So while you want to go down and win the game, it's not as though you lose if you don't go down there and score. So, but you've been a quarterback. So take me, what kinds of things are being said? And I know this is probably drilled into your head every day in practice and every day of your life. But as he's walking out onto the field, what are the coaches saying to him about what you must not do in this situation?
Well, the 2 things is you can't take a sack and you also can't throw a turnover. And that's the big thing. And one of the 2 happened. You almost had a sack and then you have a turnover. So in that situation, I would assume Andy Kotelnicki told him, hey, look, I'm going to give you these play calls. We're going to throw the ball a little bit and be aggressive and try to get down the field, but ultimately take care of me with the play call by not putting the ball in harm's way. So really what he did, he made a bad play worse. The best thing that he could have done, see the out route, see the corner route, throw it out of bounds if you don't like either 2, and then move on to the next play.
You see, I love how he just put that. Take care of me with the play call I'm about to give you. What that is, it's just trust. And they've trusted him all year long. And he earned it. He's taking care of the ball all year long. Now, Drew just kind of lost it in that moment. It's as simple as that, and people do that. Yep. Those kind of things happen.
Get RC in here. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I know, but we always say that more games are lost than games are won. I think this was a situation where there's both. right? Drew Aller has earned an opportunity for over 50 touchdowns. He's had only 9 interceptions throughout his career. He's earned the opportunity to try to go win this game. And on the other side of this, Christian Gray has had games this year where he didn't play the ball well down the field. He's the guy who's had to continue to fight, a second-year player who needed to come up with a big play in the biggest moment, and he did that. So as much as you're looking at James Franklin, as much as you're saying, okay, here you don't be aggressive, you're actually taking your guys against the other team's guys. And I'm going to be honest, as a parent sitting in the stands, the one thing I kept saying is I didn't want to go to overtime. I didn't want Ando Kotoniki to have an opportunity to have 12 personnel on the field, shifts and motions and bursts and all of these different things to be able to be tricky. And so in that moment, with them going to win it, you gave Notre Dame, that fought their butts off to be in that position, a chance to make a play. And we can't take away from them what Christian Gray and what the pressure was able to cause to give Mitch Jeter an opportunity to win that game.
All right, leave everything there for the moment. So much more on this. Obviously, we will get to the Notre Dame side of this, the historical significance of the win for Marcus Freeman, and everything else. Much, much more on the college as we continue. We also get to the NFL. Oh, yeah, it's Wild Card Weekend. Injured Eagle to deal with. Are the issues mounting too high in Philly for these Eagles to fly into the second round? Plus, bad news, Baltimore. Does the absence of Zay mean Lamar and the Ravens don't get their flowers on Saturday night? We will answer those questions as we continue Get Up, brought to you by Applebee's, the official grill and bar sponsor of the NFL. Watch for a pick six this week. Take it away.
Aller hit as he throws, and it is intercepted! Christian Gray picks it off! 41-yard attempt. Snap and hold are good. The kick is good!
So Mitch Jeter doesn't just put Notre Dame into the title game. He also did something no one had ever done before. Prior to last night, kickers were 0 for 4 all time in go-ahead field goals in the fourth quarter of college playoff games. Notre Dame will now await the winner of Texas and Ohio State. That game, of course, is tonight, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. We will have much more on all of the college as we go. But, of course, the NFL wildcard weekend begins tomorrow. It ends on Monday night. And the overwhelming story in America that goes well beyond football, of course. The horrifying wildfires in the Los Angeles area have caused the game on Monday night between the Rams and Vikings to be moved.
It moved to Phoenix, Glendale, Arizona, where the Arizona Cardinals play, State Farm Stadium. It'll be played there Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, between the Vikings and the Rams. The NFL made that decision last night. Main reason they made that decision, allocation of resources in Southern California. You need first responders and police and people like that at an NFL game. And at this point, that would be a waste of time of those people. They need to be somewhere else. So the NFL made the decision to move the game. Rams have been practicing and are scheduled to practice again today. They're monitoring the air quality, make sure it's okay, but so far so good with that. And they'll head to Phoenix on Sunday.
Absolutely. The decision to move the game is 1,000% the right one. The significance of a team having home field advantage obviously pales in comparison to the terrifying images and the terrifying things that are going on there. So we'll continue to monitor that as we go. In the meantime, let's turn our attention to the games that will be played in these wild card weekend here, and we will play a game of Who You Got. Lewis, let's go Vikings-Rams, that game Monday night. Who do you like Monday night in Arizona?
I'm going to go with the Vikings. Look, I think Sam Darnold, I don't think he reverted back to who he was. I don't think this is the Jets version of Sam Darnold. He had some struggles in the red zone. He made some uncharacteristically off-target throws. I think he has a big-time rebound type of game, and so does Justin Jefferson.
Once again, everybody here picking the same team. I never feel good about that. Yeah. EJ, Commanders, Bucks, who you got?
Yeah, I got the Commanders, and the big reason why is their quarterback, Jaden Daniels, who has been elite against the blitz, you guys. Second in the league against that blitz, 90 QBR. And who likes the blitz? The Buccaneers do. They are actually third in the league. They get home 37% of the football time. So I expect Jaden Daniels to lead this team to a victory because of that ability to handle the blitz.
He did it again. We all agree. I don't like it. RC, Packers, Eagles, who you got?
I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, Saquon Barkley is the possible MVP this year if we wouldn't just continuously give it to quarterbacks. And also this defense of the Philadelphia Eagles. We see some leakage on the back end, but I expect Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to lock in on the back end, and Jalen Carter is an absolute game wrecker in the middle of this defensive line. I think Vic Fangio finds a way to be great defensively, but I know this offense will be physical with Saquon Barkley running the ball.
Once again, whenever everyone thinks something is going to happen, it almost never does. Keeping that in mind, the return of Jalen Hurts off the concussion, it appears out of concussion protocol and ready to go.
You have to monitor him, see if symptoms recur, and if they do, he goes back to the beginning. But full practice yesterday means he only has one more step to clear, and that's the official clearance to play.
So the overwhelming likelihood is that he does play this game. Lewis, you're a defender in this game. You know what he's coming off of. How does that impact the way you approach the game?
Look, I said it in the first hour, and look, and I say this with all due respect, especially when it comes to player health and safety. But you got to touch Jalen Hurts if you're a defender. You got to try and put him on the ground. You got to kind of see whether or not he's someone who can sustain the hits. And really, if you're Nick Sirianni and you're Kellen Moore, you're sitting there going, okay, look, how's this game going to play out? Do we need him to be put in harm's way? Do we need him to be getting touched unnecessarily out in this football game? And without, if A.J. Brown doesn't play and somehow Saquon Barkley isn't able to get going, if he isn't able to get 4 yards before he, encounters first contact, that's an insane number, by the way. Yeah. He's almost averaging 4 yards per carry before first contact.
Yeah.
I mean, that's way beyond the second level. Look, I think for him, though, it's all about about availability. And and a lot of that's going to be due to how they use him in this football game.
RC, quickly again, as a hard-hitting safety that you were, how are you approaching Jalen Hurts if you're on that Green Bay defense?
First of all, I have an intimate relationship with concussion protocol, so I also understand that part as well. But when you look at what Jalen Hurts is, I agree with Lewis. And it's not even about just touching him. It's seeing how he reacts to the touches. How will he react to physicality? Will he try to gain that extra yard? That's so much of what they do if you're the Philadelphia Eagles offense and Kellen Moore. And does this run game become one-dimensional? Because to me, it's a different run game when quarterback run is taken out of the equation. I expect to see some simulated pressure. I expect to see twist up front. They're going to try to touch Jalen Hurts in the run game and the pass game to see if they can affect him.
Super quick.
No, I was just going to say, look out for number 56, Edgerrin Cooper, and Xavier McKinney. Those are the guys who are most likely to touch him in a way he don't want to be touched.
Right. Very quickly, EJ, do you expect something different from the Eagles offense? Will they run all that RPO, all that stuff where we see him carrying the ball?
They'll still run RPO, but if you look at the numbers, so the Packers are not great for runs inside the tackles. They're actually 24th in the league. Outside the tackles, they're second in the league. So I would just say let power, let inside counter, let ISO with Saquon Barkley be the lead. You still have to have the zone read responsibilities because you got to respect Jalen as a runner. You can still get 3 or 4 yards and slide and move on to the next play.
And people who were just joining us just heard Lewis say, well, maybe A.J. Brown doesn't play. They're thinking, what's he talking about? Grouse, what is he talking about?
I think he'll play, but he didn't practice yesterday. He does have a knee injury that he's trying to manage. My understanding is they didn't practice him yesterday because as part of the rest program, they want him on so he's ready to go on Sunday. I expect to see him out there. The question is, will he be limited at all by that knee?
Listen, the only thing I know is if I'm the Green Bay, I'm not letting Saquon Barkley win this game.
Yeah.
With all the other stuff going on with the Eagles there, any other way I lose, I know I understand that, but that's just the one thing we're doing. Okay, I got to take a quick break. We're coming back to the Orange Bowl as we continue. The interception that changed absolutely everything for Penn State and Notre Dame, and we will answer the question, can the Fighting Irish now win the national championship a week from Monday? That's on the way. This is Get Up on ESPN.
Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance, so I saved hundreds. But the money I saved, thought I'd get a wax figure myself. Oh, right in the temporal lobe. Beat it, punks! Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Here. Same time next month?
Okay.
Who's that?
Oh, just an annoying subscription.
He sucks. You gotta get rid of him.
I know, but he's just so hard to cancel.
Just download Rocket Money. You cancel subscriptions you don't want right in the app, and it might even be able to get you a refund on some of the money you lost. Download Rocket Money today.
When you order Domino's online, we'll give you a free pizza to use for a future pizza emergency. So you'll have a free pizza when you need it most. Get your emergency pizza when you order Domino's online.
Here you go.
Thank you.
All right.
Dinner's ready.
Consumer Cellular is lowering the price for those 50 and up. Get 2 unlimited lines for $30 each. That's just $60 a month. So switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage satisfaction. Now new customers get your second month free when you switch.
Hey, I have a fever.
I don't feel so good either.
This is not just 1-hour delivery. This is fast relief for those who can't take a time out. Walgreens.
At Dots, an ordinary pretzel just isn't enough, so they add savory seasoning and tempting buttery flavor into every delicious twist. Now that's enough to make you build an all-pretzel pantry with a biometric security system. Dots, sensationally seasoned pretzels.
Dad, are you certain this is gonna work?
Nothing to it.
Are you for imprint certain?
Certainty matters, like the certainty of 4imprint, your home for high-quality promotional gear, including exclusive items and brands they love. Printed perfectly and guaranteed to arrive on time. To wow your clients, nail your next event, or inspire your team, check out 4imprint.com.
4imprint, for certain.
Yo, guys, you ready for the NFL playoffs? I got some ideas.
What you got, Chad?
High-stakes football needs a heightened experience. Weather in 4D.
And here comes the snow.
Feel the elements. Let's put cameras on every player. Hibachi vendors.
What do you want, Sam? Okay, wait up.
A third Kelsey brother.
Picture in picture. In picture in picture.
I've been pitching that hibachi thing for years.
So you guys like my ideas?
No.
When you lose the game, we're going to question whatever decision it was or whatever play it was that we feel like allowed another team to win. This is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish going out, making a play and making other plays to win the football game. James Franklin was fine to me in the way that he approached coaching this game schematically and also from a decision-making standpoint.
That's fair. Now, and I happen to agree, if you were to take the other side of it, though, you would say Drew Aller on the night had not played well. He may have missed 3 touchdowns in the first half when Penn State had a chance to really open up a big lead and didn't do it. And it finishes the night without having completed a pass to a wide receiver in the entire game. Lewis, is that something you take into account if you're the coach in that moment?
I think you understand it, but I think, as EJ put it, in the block before. I think as an offensive coordinator and as a coaching staff, you're already communicating to Drew in this situation, regardless of what has happened already in this football game. Here are the sort of set of circumstances that we have right now. I'm going to make a play call for you that I want you to keep very simple. Okay, regardless of how you haven't been able to connect with the people, with the receivers so far in this football game, I need you to go from here to out of bounds. It's second down. That's all I need you to do. That's not something you just talk about on game day. It's something you talk about in meeting rooms. You talk about in the practice field. You talk about during spring ball. So I think for us to kind of make it a situation where, James Franklin was way too aggressive. I mean, that's just, come on now. What do you mean take shots, but safe ones? There are no safe shots, really.
Right.
That's why it's called a shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But let's also look at how we even got to this point. I mean, Penn State should have put this game away, and because of the inability of Drew Aller to not hit the flat route for an early touchdown, to not hit Katron Allen down the sideline for an opportunity to get either an explosive or a touchdown, to miss on a drag route, to miss on a basic route right here, he just had a bad night.
He did. Yeah.
And so in that moment, you still have to give him the chance to build it up, because as a quarterback, you snap and clear. If you have a bad first quarter, second quarter, I can't let that affect me in the last drive of the game. And it's inside 40 seconds, and you go over that every single week.
You think there wasn't going to come some point in time in that football game still that Drew Aller wasn't going to have to throw the football?
Yeah.
They weren't just going to run it, to the national title game. They're going to have to throw it at some point in time.
Understood. I happen to be on your side, but I'm sure there will be the flip side of it taken. RC, I can hear the people yelling at us from South Bend this morning. Why aren't you talking about Notre Dame making it to the national championship game? So let's do that. Marcus Freeman, by the way, becomes the first ever black head coach to lead a team to a national championship game in college football. Obviously, great significance there. He's done a magnificent job in his 3 seasons. But RC, no one would have a more intimate understanding of that than you would right now with him being your son's coach. What can you tell us about the job Marcus Freeman has done getting this team from where it was when they lost to Northern Illinois in September and the world wrote them off to where they will now play in the last game of the year?
I think the first thing about Marcus Freeman is we have to recognize that he is a superstar amongst the coaching ranks right now, not only in college, but if you're an NFL organization, you're going to be seeing if you can some way lure him out of South Bend. And now on the other side of that, I remember texting with him after the Northern Illinois loss, and he said, you know what, this can be good for us if we do the right things with it. And that's all that this team has looked at and continue to do since that moment. He's been focusing on what can we do to win that week. And I think you see that sort of approach when you go in and you play Georgia. And before that game, people like Paul Feinbaum saying there is no way they could beat Georgia, talking about the physicality of that team, being in that moment. And in my estimation, he went out and he outcoached Kirby Smart, to me, the gold standard of coaching in college football. And now you walk into this game, it's 10-0. You put Stephen Jelly in the game because Riley Leonard is hurt, and you go find a way to score 3 points. Then you start the half with the slant and go on the outside, the double move to Aeneas Williams that Riley Leonard hits when you haven't pushed the football down the field all day. So you find a way to win the middle 8. I feel like Marcus Freeman has done a masterful job with this team schematically, managing a roster that's lost a ton of players, but also what he's done for this team emotionally and mentally, keeping them prepared for every moment. This team never seems to be overwhelmed, even when the odds seem to be against them. And I think that's what he's done better than any coach in college football.
Tonight on ESPN, we will find out who their opponent will be. It's Ohio State and Texas. And let's let EJ show you a little bit. For those of you who aren't familiar with these teams, you're going to see one of the best, if not the best player in America on the field. I shouldn't say that Travis Hunter deserves the credit for being that. Right. But Jeremiah Smith is in that team photo, the freshman receiver for Ohio State, and you've got some tape to get everybody ready for what we're going to see tonight.
I'll say he's the most impactful freshman that we have in the country in college football, and we're going to run these plays. And it's not so much the ability of Jeremiah Smith to make these plays. It's also Chip Kelly, who's offensive coordinator, dialing these things up. So right here, you're going to see the ability to motion this kid. Now, what this does, it stretches out the corner, and now this is a simple curl flat. This is in the first quarter, actually the first drive of the game. Easy game, or easy throw right there. You have a target, you have a catch, you get him into the game. Watch this, again, a tight split. If you put him out wide, this is a decoy right here. A safety has to account for this guy because of that tight split. What does that open up? Emeka Egbuka, who's running a middle route on a linebacker, he can't run with that guy. Excellent throw by Will Howard, puts it on a dime, he scores a touchdown. Another tight split. But watch Chip Kelly motion Egbuka outside of him. Look at the adjustment by the corner. He goes outside, he takes him. Now I got a matchup on a safety. That's dead. Throw him the ball right now. He's wide open. The safety has no chance.
Easy now.
That's an easy throw. I'm sorry, Lewis, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
Safeties are better than that.
That's an easy throw for a quarterback. And again, the plays are being made by Jeremiah Smith, but also the schematics of Chip Kelly, putting him in positions to make those plays is elite.
Let's put the picks up on the screen. And I mean, this has been the theme of the day. We all morning long, we all are picking the same team in every game, college and pro. We will find out if we are right. Again, the second college football playoff semifinal matchup is on ESPN tonight. Ohio State and Texas in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. Coverage kicks off 7:30 Eastern time. We had the unbelievable drama last night. Let's see if we get just as good this evening on ESPN. Okay. Joe Fortenbaugh, our betting expert, is back, and we are going to debut a new feature called Greeny versus Joe. Here's how it's going to work. Before every round of the NFL playoffs, Joe and I are going to go head-to-head with our picks. We'll each make 3 of them. Each correct pick earns a point. Whoever has the most points after the Super Bowl wins. Our picks are also going to be turned into parlays on ESPN Bet, so you can boost it, baby, and join the fun at home. Every week when you back either my or Joe's parlay, you will enter a ticket into our respective jackpots. And after the Super Bowl, the winner's jackpot will be unlocked. And if you bet with the winner, you could win a share of $50,000 in bonus bets. So,
lost in the shuffle of all of that, the winner will be switching salaries with the loser. That was agreed to.
I didn't agree to that. Let's let the record show. There's a lot of things that I'm willing to have a conversation about. That's not on the list. Okay, Joe, here we go. 3 picks. You go first.
Steelers, Ravens under 43.5. The Baltimore defensive transformation is the key here since week 10. Kyle Hamilton gets moved to free safety. The Ravens go from 25th in scoring defense to number 1 in scoring defense. On top of that, no Zay Flowers on the Baltimore offense is a huge blow. He's not only their number 1 wide receiver, he is the primary read, the primary first read for Lamar Jackson when dropping back to pass. That's going to suppress the Raven offense for going under 43.5.
All right, I'm going the opposite direction on Commanders-Bucks. I'm going to take the over. I think they could go over 50.5 in the first half. I watched both these quarterbacks play. Baker Mayfield has been on a mission. He was great in the playoffs last year. Washington's defense is not great. I think that Jaden Daniels will put numbers up in his first playoff opportunity. I'll take the over on the Commanders and the Bucks. What's your pick number 2?
Buffalo minus the 8.5 over Denver. Every couple years in the playoffs, we get a matchup like this. The old grizzled veteran hosting Johnny Try-Hard that everyone's very excited about. Great season from the Broncos. It's not to knock them, but here's the thing. When they step up in class, they get whacked. Against teams with a winning record this season, 1-7, minus 37-point differential, and the defense has been a problem against great offenses. Baltimore hung 41, Cincinnati hung 30, Jameis Winston hung 30+. I think Buffalo hangs a big number here, and they cover.
All right, I've got the Eagles as my second pick, minus the 4.5 at home against Green Bay on Sunday, and it is all because of that defense. The Packers playing without Christian Watson, and you broke down earlier on this show the impact he has on that offense, how differently they play without him. Love has the elbow and the fingers for whatever that's worth, and the Eagles defense has been dominant. I like the Eagles minus the 4.5. One more pick, Joe.
First game out of the chute tomorrow, Texans-Chargers under 42.5 points. The market's seen under money all weekend for good reason. On the Houston side of the ball, no Tank Dell, a banged-up offensive line. They're going to want to run the ball with Joe Mixon against a Charger defense that ranks bottom half of the league in defensive run success rate. On the other side, if you're the Chargers, you want to be running the ball as well. The strength of the Houston defense is the pass D. This is going to be a low-scoring game, two teams that play at a very slow pace.
I agree, and that's why I think the Chargers are going to win 17-14 and thus cover the 2.5. Poor Houston has been decimated by injury, particularly on their offensive side with the skill positions. We've seen it through the second half of this season. So there are our picks. Boost it, baby. Joe's got his on the top screen there. You see mine. You can head to ESPN Bet, place a bet on if you like my picks or Joe's. We will track the results all through this postseason. All right, coming up, back to that Baltimore game. Bad news, Baltimore. Does the absence of Zay mean Lamar and the Ravens don't get their flowers on Saturday night? We'll answer that question next.
Can't get it out. Now pressure coming. Aller throws. Loose ball. Intercepted. Christian Gray picks it off at the 42-yard line. Notre Dame will get the ball back. The Orange Bowl is on Mitch Jeter's leg. Good snap. Good hold. Kick on its way. And the kick is good. Yes! Mitch Jeter with 7 seconds left gives the Irish a lead, 27-24. Notre Dame is on the precipice.
So the Irish are going to play for the championship, and they have earned it. They are now 7-0 against ranked opponents, which is tied for the best record against ranked teams in a single season by any team in the poll era. Look how far back this goes. By the way, the previous 3 all won the national championship. Will Notre Dame be able to do that? We'll find out a week from Monday. Again, Ohio State, Texas is tonight. Now we get to the wild card weekend, and the game is take your pick. Lewis, Broncos, Bills, early Sunday. Who you got?
This is an easy one for me, the Bills. And why? Because of Josh Allen. Look, there is a confidence that is emanating from this young man right now that you can tangibly almost feel. And I think the players in the locker room, the other 52, feel it as well. There's nothing he feels like he can't do. He'll make back across the field throws. He can run the football. He breaks out to the right. It's curtains. You know he's going to throw some kind of laser 15, 20 yards down the field. Defensively, they're rushing the passer. They're at home. I just don't see how they lose this game.
Is there any game where we don't all agree? Oh, thank God.
There we go.
EJ, who you got? Chargers, Texans.
Yeah, I got the Chargers. And similar to what Lewis said about the Bills quarterback and Josh Allen, who I love, this Chargers quarterback, Justin Herbert, has been playing extremely well all season. And then the connection with Ladd McConkey, 10 yards per attempt whenever he tries to throw the football to him. So that's going to be a big deal. That's automatic first down. And then Derwin James, my Florida State brother, he is going to have a huge impact in this football game, coming off the edge, providing pressure against C.J. Stroud, hopefully leading some turnover.
All right, at least one game where we don't all pick the same team. RC, your Steelers at the Ravens. Who you got?
Yeah, way to come to me on this game. I have the Baltimore Ravens. When you go back to the second matchup, the way Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson dominated that game, obviously with no Zay Flowers, that's a huge deal for the passing offense of the Baltimore Ravens. But if they protect the football against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I expect that Baltimore defense to turn it over and give their presumptive MVP, who could be winning his third, the football more often, more series, more points.
So, RC, let's talk about your Steelers here. Your buddy Orlovsky was sitting right here yesterday talking about it. I've had a lot of people this week say they want to see Justin Fields on the field for Pittsburgh tomorrow. Do you?
Yeah, I want to see him on the field, but didn't we want to see him on the field before Russell Wilson became the quarterback? And then we saw early on Arthur Smith had a package of plays for Justin Fields, and it never really got going. There was no versatility or diversity to it. I listened to EJ speak earlier about not just giving him one play, but giving him an opportunity to get in the groove. And if you're going to do that, then we should certainly see Justin Fields look a little further than the other side of the football field to see what someone with this sort of talent with the football in his hands can do. But this doesn't seem to be like something that Mike Tomlin wants to do. And Justin Fields hasn't played ball in a long time. And we all know you don't want to just throw him out there cold against one of the best teams in all of the NFL.
I get it, but Lewis, I sit there and I watch that the Steelers offense has cratered. Yeah. I mean, they have cratered, and it feels like maybe you go down swinging here. I mean, you got to try something different or your season is over.
Yeah, look, I think against a team like Baltimore that runs a lot of too high looks, favorable boxes to run the ball, a mobile quarterback would be exactly what you want. Someone who can get out on the edges and really put the numbers in your advantage with his running ability is exactly what you would want. The problem is it messes with the rhythm of the entire offense, right, as EJ is pointing out, because now, so you don't want to just give that to him a few times. You want to give it to him for a couple series, and then that means you're taking a couple series away from Russ, who's sitting over there on the sideline going like, when am I back in? Yeah. And see, that's what, hey, look, we all know what the adage says. Look, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none, right? So, I mean, this is kind of the situation that they're in. And that's why they're going to be in a position now where they're going to be looking for a long-term answer for 25.
Yeah, I want to specifically address the package thing. I never liked it because as a quarterback, and like you said, you come off the field cold. And then if you're the running quarterback like Justin Fields is, well, what's he going to do? You're going to run quarterback counter. You're going to run quarterback power. Is that really doing anything to a Baltimore Ravens defense? This is the playoffs, man. Like, I understand you want to take all the Band-Aids off and go out there and try to win a football game, but you choose one of them. And if it's Russ who you feel most confident with because of his passing prowess, then ride with Russ. But if you're going to give Justin Fields an opportunity, give him a real opportunity to lead the team.
The problem that Russell Wilson was great when they put him in at first, but lately it's been can't pick up a third down, turning the ball over too much. They feel like they can get Russell Wilson back to the way he was playing in week 9 and 10, then they have a chance. The problem with the Justin Fields stuff, and I know the coaches have it and they want to use it, they want him to be ready. They haven't used it, right? So they don't know the extent to which it works. And unless they've been practicing it in secret and they have it ready to unveil. But that's tough in a playoff game, right? Because how good can you possibly feel about it? So he's available. I bet he sees the field in this game. To what extent and how effectively is anyone's guess.
And then on the other side, RC, you mentioned Derrick Henry. That's the big difference. The Ravens have always fallen short in this iteration of their history. He's the big difference maker here. Do you expect him to be the difference maker in the game?
I mean, he was definitely the difference maker in the second meeting of these two teams. But I would love to sit here and just talk about Derrick Henry and how important he is. But let's be real. Whether the Baltimore Ravens win or lose on Monday mornings, we're going to be talking about Lamar Jackson. And I listened to what Lewis said a little earlier about Myles Garrett's comments on Lamar. Derrick Henry has taken some of the weight off of his shoulders, especially when we talk about the red zone. But it's going to be about Lamar Jackson being Lamar Jackson. It's going to be about Lamar Jackson remembering that his mother was pissed off with him because he had some running lanes that he wouldn't take. It's going to be about him being himself. And when he's himself, he's the most unstoppable force in football at the quarterback positions. There have been times in the playoffs that he hasn't done that. Don't change. Be you and be the you that got the Baltimore Ravens here and add Derrick Henry to that. It's not time for Lamar Jackson to take a back seat to anyone in a Baltimore Ravens uniform.
You were nodding heavily along there.
I think if people are just tuning into the Ravens, and the last time they saw him was last year's playoffs, Lamar Jackson's a different player than he was.
Yep.
Like this year, he posted one of the highest passer ratings in the history of the NFL. That's just passer rating. That does not count anything he did with his legs. So he has elevated as a passer to an extent we've never seen before. The Ravens have more ways to beat you than they used to have. Lamar Jackson has more ways to beat you than he used to have. I would be very disappointing if they had another flop.
I was totally blown away at the number of historic landmarks he has hit when you're talking about throwing and running and not turning the ball over.
Yes.
Historic. No one has ever done it. That's what's cool about what he did this year.
He is a two-time MVP, and this was his best season. We will see. Once again, when everybody thinks something is going to happen, it almost never does. First Take is on the way. Coming up, can Notre Dame win it all? Will Lamar struggle without Zay Flowers? First Take, top of the hour. Molly, Stephen A., Cam Newton, RC, and much more top of the hour here on ESPN.
Prime's exclusive wildcard